Hello, everyone. My name is Dakota the Douchebag, and I'm here from the Black Blaze Gaming channel. I wanted to do a bit of a discussion video again today. I really like doing these. I wanted to talk about PC versus Apple because they are specifically Windows versus Mac as well. Because oftentimes I get people confused. A lot of people think that I hate Apple inherently, and that I'm just completely against Apple, or like, and I'm completely loyal to Microsoft. But I want to clarify because I think that it's important that these kind of things get talked about because when it comes to brands, I can never consider myself loyal to any one brand. There are brands that I trust, but that trust has to be maintained by that brand over time. People change, companies change, products change, values change. I mean, you have to be able to continually take in what kinds of things are important to you, and continually take in the facts and understand what you need, what the product is delivering, and what kind of dedication to quality of service that the company has. So, but I do want to say, I mean, like as it stands, I mean, I run a PC. I've always run PC. I have used plenty of Apple computers in my time. My girlfriend, in fact, she uses exclusively Apple products essentially right now. But she's also one of those that she's not Apple loyal. She's just someone who likes to use what works, and what worked for her at the time was Apple products. Although she's considering switching to PC now. So the thing for me is the reason that I don't like Apple right now is because I don't agree with their business model. Generally speaking, Apple does some cool things as far as like to how they treat their customers and things like that. But my biggest issue with Apple is that their niche market, since they do have technically a niche market, their niche market is an exploitation of people that have a lack of knowledge. Currently, from my perspective anyways, and feel free to correct anything I say here, currently, the only reason people use any Apple computer is because of a lack of knowledge. And Apple exploits the hell out of it. Whether they intentionally do it or not is hard to say. I imagine they do because, I mean, business owners know what they're doing when they make products. And I mean, that being said, Apple customers are generally pretty happy, but they exploit, technically they exploit two things. In my mind, they exploit not only a lack of knowledge on the part of their customers, but also a generation of people who want to use products or services that aren't being used in the mainstream. And Apple has far from a stranglehold on the computers market. I believe Microsoft still has like an 80% market share. It's ridiculous how big their market share is. Granted, what Apple has done in the past 10, 15 years has been very impressive. I just think it's important to talk about the fact that they aren't, to me, they aren't doing the best they can for their customers. And the reason behind that is that you can get the power that you can get in an Apple computer, and the kinds of things you can get for an Apple computer are not exclusive to it. By any stretch. The only thing that's really exclusive is the Thunderbolt displays. But there's even like basic motherboards you can buy now that support Thunderbolt now, and you can get Thunderbolt displays for PC, I believe. But even that isn't that good. I mean, people are like, oh, Thunderbolt's better, Retina's better, and actually, you can list a dozen monitors that are better than any Retina display that's ever been made, and for a lot of reasons. Because the thing about Apple products that I find is that they don't go into a lot of detail as to what their hardware does and what it's comprised of. A really great example of that is my girlfriend's computer. She had a Mac for a while. She has a Mac laptop, and the MacBook still works for the most part, but she has it's the there's like a display board in Macs. It's like I think all laptops have them, but basically it's a part of the motherboard that runs the display essentially. And so it sends power to the display. It sends the data to the display. The issue is that hers Apple uses a non-lead based solder, and so their solder is tin based generally, and will melt at a really low temperature. So since MacBooks have some of the worst cooling I've ever seen in a laptop computer, my Acer is better. I have this tiny piece of shit Acer that has one little bitty fan on it that blows out the bottom side. It's weird. It's stupid. It's fucking retarded. But Apple has like even worse fucking cooling than that. And so when their solder heats up, when their computers heat up because they're being used heavily, that tin-based solder melts, and it makes contacts across the circuit board it's not supposed to make, and it fries your display essentially. Or it will create tin whiskers, which is basically little strands of tin solder that'll come out of, like, grow essentially out of the solder, and again make contacts that they shouldn't make and destroy your display board. So and that in of itself is just stupid. If they had just spent a little bit more money on, like, I understand not using a lead-based solder, but if you're not going to use a lead-based solder, take into account that it melts at a low temperature and computers heat up, so get better cooling. Like, if you look at any MSI computer, they have some of the finest cooling in laptops ever designed. It pulls air in through the front, through two fans, and then it pushes it out the back. It pulls it across the entire length of the hardware and pushes it out the back, away from you, right? And it's great because if you know where it takes in air and where it pushes out air, you can keep those areas unblocked, and it works beautifully. A lot of computers usually push it out the side, and it heats up your drink, which is sitting next to it, or your mouse, which is sitting on the other side. I just think that's fucking stupid. Side vented is whatever. Dumb. But another thing about computers is, like, with PC, generally speaking, you can get the same kind of power and services for a PC laptop that you can get for a Mac, but cheaper. And people like, oh, well, Apple has the programs I want. Most of the programs that you want on Apple are available on PC, and the ones that aren't, there's an equivalent. And like, generally speaking, like a great example is video editing software. I use Adobe Premiere. It's available on PC and Mac, although I believe PC updates are prioritized over Mac updates. But then people are like, well, I use Final Cut Pro. I don't want to use Adobe Premiere. Learn something new. Every editor that ever works in film should always learn more than one software. I know a few softwares myself. I use Premiere and After Effects, but I've used Final Cut Pro. I've used iMovie, unfortunately, Windows Movie Maker and things like that. I have never used Avid. I would like to, but it's a really difficult software to get. So I just haven't taken the time. I think they made it easier to get, but I haven't taken the time. I also use DaVinci Resolve. It's a nonlinear editor. So I mean, like any editor, I should learn how to use all the different tools. I mean, to me, it's like you work in leatherworking, but you only use one tool. There's a lot of tools that come with leatherworking. You should learn them all. And the thing is, like, with PC, you have a lot of different manufacturers of the hardware that are going to give you generally better service and better power than any MacBook is ever going to offer. And beyond that, you're going to get you're going to get the same kind of software. And then, of course, another argument that people make for Mac over PC is that they like the operating system for Macintosh because it's more user friendly. But the thing is everything is user friendly if you know what you're doing. I mean, invest the time to learn how to use Windows software, and you'll wonder what you ever did without it. And that's the thing. Like, while Macintosh's software might be easier to use, it's generally less powerful. Windows has been making operating systems for fucking ever, and had a much larger base of user feedback to learn what to do to improve their software. And I'm like, I 100% agree that not every Windows software has been decent. It's absolutely true. It's like, Windows 8 was awful. I hated it, and I had it for a while, and I upgraded to 10, and 10 has its quirks, but I like it. I like 10 a lot. It does the trick. But it takes a while to learn new softwares, and you're always going to have to learn new things. So, I mean, but as it stands, I mean, there could come a day when Apple starts catering to its audience a little better and starts producing a product that actually, like, caters to a better market. Because as it stands, all it does is it takes PC stuff, puts a uniform design on it, and marks up the price. Now, granted, I understand why their computers cost so much. Generally speaking, their monitors have higher resolution than most laptops generally do. Their storage devices are generally not typical hard drives with a spinning disk. They usually are solid state, which cost more money to make. And so I understand that, and of course, it takes time to design something that thin. But going back to the PC comparison, MSI makes a computer for about $1,500. It's the 6QE Apache Pro, I believe. It uses an i7 6th generation processor. It uses a dedicated 970 NVIDIA GTX 970M graphics card, as well as internal Intel graphics, and it has a solid-state drive dedicated to its OS, so its boot times are instant almost, and it has a terabyte of regular hard drive storage. Plus, it has that amazing custom cooling, like I mentioned before. It has an RGB backlit keyboard where you can customize your colors, and you can change the colors and have it respond to the games you're playing. It has a better sound card, a better wireless card, and it has a matte screen for gaming. Not to mention being a really nice color accurate monitor, which generally speaking, Apple monitors are not very color accurate. The newer Retinas might be a little better, but even then, I don't know how much I'm gonna do some research here. I don't know how much a Retina display costs these days. Apple discontinued the Thunderbolt display. What? I don't want the MacBook Pro. I want. Oh, did they really get rid of their Thunderbolt displays? That's really weird. Jesus. I totally thought that's fucked up. I thought they were still making these. Okay. Apparently they don't sell Thunderbolt displays anymore. I mean, granted, DisplayPort is generally a better technology. Okay, so it's about $1,200 for a Thunderbolt display on their website. That's probably American. Nope, it looks like it's Canadian. And its contrast ratio is only 1,000:1, which is not very high. 27 inches in size. Resolution is QHD, so that's 2560 by 1440, just above HD, but not quite Ultra HD. Response time is an incredibly slow 12 milliseconds. What the fuck? Screen type is a TFT active matrix. That's not even standard. That's weird. It has a microphone and camera built in, so that's all right. Let's take a look at one of its competitors. I'm using Memory Express's website for reference here. Let's go with LCD monitors. I actually know the perfect one to compare it to. It's made by Asus. Asus makes some fine monitors, in case you're wondering. Let's see. For $1,049, so that's $150 less than the Apple Thunderbolt display, you can get an IPS monitor, which is designed specifically for designers, people who do photography or need color accurate screens. Jesus. It's pre-calibrated to have color proper color accuracy. So it's 99% Adobe RGB, 100% sRGB, and 120% NTSC. It has a QHD screen, so again, 2560 by 1440, same as the Apple Retina. It has DisplayPort input, daisy chain DisplayPort output, HDMI, and dual link DVI. Jeez. 6 USB 3.0 ports, 9-in-1 card reader. Holy balls. It comes with a cover, too, to block out glare. And that's $150 less than your average, than your Apple Retina display. Its response time is 6 milliseconds, which is half of that of the Apple Retina display. And actually not a bad response time for a IPS monitor. And its contrast ratio is 100 million to 1 compared to Apple's 1,000 to 1. Like, there's no comparison in my mind. It's it's ridiculous that people still use the Thunderbolts. Obviously, like I said, apparently they're discontinuing the Thunderbolt, but that goes to show. And again, the Asus is also a 27-inch, and that just goes to show. I mean, there's a lot more quality for monitors out there and for computers out there in your PC spectrum than there is in Apple computers. And again, like I said, they cater to their audience, to the audience that they currently use. But I think they should be making something different. They should expand their current lineup. They should be doing something a little bit more dedicated to a specific audience or a set of specific audiences, so they actually have a reason to exist beyond exploiting people who just don't know what they're doing. And that's all it comes down to. People are like, well, I like Mac because of this or that. And really what it comes down to is they don't realize that they can get a PC with the same exact setup for half or a third the price, or just less money in general. And I mean, that's why I like to help my friends with computer talk, because, okay, well, you want a computer that you can video edit on, but you want iMovie specifically, and you won't budge on the iMovie part. Fine, I'll build you a PC from the ground up, and you can put Macintosh software on it. Easy. You just put the OS on there, and you're set. And then you get your iMovie, your Final Cut. I don't know why I said iMovie. You want Final Cut, whatever. You have at her. But you're going to get better bang for your buck with PC components, and just generally it's a bad idea to own an Apple product right now. But again, I have my mind open. And if you like this video, I mean, I appreciate you watching this long. I've gone for like 18 minutes now. But if you like this video, feel free to like it and share it. And if you have comments, fucking tell me. Like, let me know what your opinion is on Apple versus PC. And if you have any questions, I could possibly do a follow-up video, or I can just respond in the comments. And tell you all about the wonderful world of PCs. I can fully explain how to build a PC too. It's actually quite easy, very straightforward. I think anybody can learn how to do it. It's logical, it makes sense. So thank you all so much for watching. My name is Dakota the Douchebag, and you're watching the Black Blaze Gaming channel, which isn't always dedicated to gaming, but fuck it, right? Bye.